Hello there. How are you? It's warm and toasty in the dank basement. I'm drinking my coffee and racing to finish putting up my top 5 lists of my favorite snuffs for 2014 by genre or species or variety, whatever you want to call it. And today, we've already looked at the Sweetie Deety, Fruity Duty, Chocorifics, the plain snuffs. We have looked at the medicateds. We've looked at what I call complex plain snuffs. And we are now looking at SPs. What are SPs? My definition might be a little bit different than other snuff veterans, but I think for me an SP has to have the following. First of all, it has to be scented with bergamot. In every video I've done in the last 2.5 years, I have incorrectly pronounced it as bergamot. Yes, it's bergamot. That's number one. Number two, it has to be cask aged, like aged in wooden barrels, which is part of the process of making an SP. And thirdly, but not as importantly, I expect the grind to be medium to medium fine with medium moisture. That to me, those are the 3 things that define what an SP is. That being said, my top 5 list for 2014 has a few snuffs in it that break the rules. Let's start. At the number 5 spot, and it only rated as low as number 5 because it is truly one of my top 2 SPs. But I put it at number 5 because it's only available in these little tiny 5-gram tins. And that is the J&H Wilson Top Mills. This was one of my first SPs and is still one of my favorites. A delicious tobacco base, just the right amount of bergamot. There is nothing here that burns, stings, or irritates the nose. It is slightly sweet. Only drawback, you can only buy it 5 grams at a time, and it's fairly costly. Now, the number 4 snuff is not costly. Typically $5 or so, $6 for a 25-gram tin, and that would be the Wilsons of Shero SP 100. This made my list because I love the inclusion of the lemon with the bergamot. The grind is silky and beautiful, and unlike most of the SPs that I've had, this one yields a little bit more nicotine. So that's my number 4, Wilsons of Shero's SP 100. In the number 3 spot, I love this stuff, but it defies my rule about grind. This is the Toque Berwick Brown, spelled Berwick, pronounced Berwick. Toque Berwick Brown has a very mixed grind. You find some granules that are fairly coarse, and others that are medium, and still others that are quite fine, all mixed together in the same tin. The bergamot level is perfect. And what really makes this tobacco for me is the delicious base tobacco. Interesting snuff, very easy to take, and should be in everyone's snuff cabinet. The number 2 and number 1 SPs on my list this year might not technically be defined as SPs, although they both contain bergamot, and they both have the grind and tobacco base characteristics that I expect from an SP. Also, the problem with my number 2 choice, the Abraxas Prinz Regent, is that it is not available. It was a limited run snuff for 2014. If you were not fortunate enough to get your hands on a container of this, Nigel is not making any more of this. This was a once-in-a-lifetime, supposedly, shot. But listen, if you have snuff-taking friends, as I know I do, see if you can work a little trade or a little sample. It's one you really need to try. It's exquisite. It's sad that it will not be available, but I can understand why. The ingredients were very, very expensive, and the process to make it quite arduous. Still, it was a good thing to come across in 2014. And the number 1, which is still readily available, it was the diamond that was in front of our eyes the whole time. This one is from Molens, de Kralengse, and it is their Prinz Regent, Prince Regent. The Molens take is a little bit different. In fact, it's quite a bit different from the Abraxas Prince Regent, in that the Molens uses a different base tobacco, a fermented Virginia base tobacco, that has more lemon to it than bergamot, but still plenty of both, and I suspect a little citronella. This stuff is marvelous. I bought a 100-gram tub of it a year ago. I think I have maybe 8 grams left. I use it frequently. It's one of my favorite SP-style snuffs. So there's your top 5. Now, there are a few that deserve honorable mention, particularly if you're a snuff-taking beginner. You're looking for an easy-to-find, inexpensive, and good solid SP to try. Might I humbly suggest the Wilsons of Sharrow's Tom Buck. Or if you come across something called Queen's Extra Strong, but your local tobacconist or a snuff store does not have the Tom Buck, the Queen's Extra Strong is the same stuff. Let's see, what else do I have for honorable mentions? One that breaks the bergamot rule, but is still an SP, and that is Toque's Spanish Gem. Toque's Spanish Gem is a sweet, vaguely honey, vaguely bready, vaguely buttery, really gorgeous snuff with just a hint of something fruity in there that isn't bergamot. It is still an SP, but it breaks all the other SP rules. It is delightful. And while we're on the subject of Toque, one of the best SPs in my arsenal is the Toque SP Extra. If I had made a top 10 SP list, the Toque SP Extra would have been at number 6. It's truly fantastic stuff. And again, inexpensive, easy to get through either toquesnuff.com or Mr. Snuff or snuffstore.co.uk, and not terribly expensive. So there you have it, guys. That's my SP list, the top 5 for 2014 from the Dank Basement. This is Paul, your Uncle Squinty. Happy holidays to you, and thanks for watching.